Hello, everybody. I hope you're all having a fantastic day, wherever you are in the world. Right now, for me, it is 10 o'clock. I haven't had my coffee yet, so still trying to go and wake up. But I'm excited because we have a very special guest on the Hype Stream today, a multi Hype Award winner, and for sure going to win many more awards in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, give a very, very warm welcome to Joy Girl. Thank you for joining me here today.
Good morning, and good morning everyone else. This is very auspicious moment where we've got two Aussies on stream.
I know.
Time, right?
I know. Time is on our side.
Yeah,
Someone who can absolutely understand being like half asleep on a stream can
yeah,
understand. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, so I'm very, very excited. Somebody that can most definitely understand what I'm saying, most likely the entire time, is fantastic. I really appreciate that too.
Have you ever
Um,
had to explain like slang or some sort of saying that you've used during a stream?
no, but I always had this kind of thought. It's like, people have a like an opening line they'll kind of say to their guests and stuff, and I always kind of thought it'd be funny if I said like, "Oh, how you going?" Like just really, really lean into it. So people are like, "What?" But no, haven't had the chance to. Oh, that's right. I explained to Dax Sake one time. Um,
Yeah.
the conversation came up. I don't know how it came up. I think I was leaning it back towards Creator Clash.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like I was like saying, oh yeah, so like over here, like that's right. He's talking about like basketball and everything, which you can relate, and
Mm-hmm.
football. And I was like, yeah, over here we have like we box with kangaroos, like we have kangaroo boxing, and there's like been some sort of plan in place for Alana Pierce, like the Aussie Aussie content creator in America for Creator Clash, and saying if she can't box, they're gonna sub in a kangaroo to go and box for him. And he was just like, I don't know whether he believed or not. But he was like, wow, really? I had no idea. And I'm like, oh no. So that's probably the only thing I've done. Um, but it's really, really cool that you're here. Um, so any person that's on the Joy Fleet that's over here, thanks for joining me. Um, the Hype Stream is a place where I want to go and bring a lot of people in just to have some fun conversations about One Piece, because there's a lot to go and talk about with One Piece.
Yeah, there
Um,
sure is.
there really is. And I mean, like, if there's any chapter to really sink your teeth into, it's this one, chapter 1084. We will talk about chapter 1084. So if you hadn't read it, read it. Because there are some really juicy bits in this chapter. And a lot, I can't believe we're at this point right now where this much is being like just it's they're talking about it now. They're really talking about the nitty gritty stuff that Oda's been hiding from us for
Mm.
so long. So, do you have any sort of thoughts that maybe you want to go and address with this chapter or anything? Um,
I just like this isn't really about the chapter specifically, but
okay.
it's about that note that you just ended with. The fact that Oda is really getting into the nitty-gritty now, and we are seeing so much revealed. I did go off on a bit of a tangent at the end of my like one of my last videos about this. But reading this chapter and seeing all of these big things being revealed to us, I actually felt quite upset. Like I almost got teary and I was almost crying thinking about the fact that, like, holy shit, like, we are really in the end game of One Piece now. If it wasn't for the fact that we are coming towards the end of One Piece, there's no way that we would be seeing the type of reveals we're seeing now. And it made me, like, really emotional. And it might be just because I was sick. Um,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
so, and it might have been like my drugs talking, but it made me super emotional.
Yeah, I've had that realization here and there, but I don't think I've gone to the point of getting emotional. I'm trying to think. I mean, like I was gonna say, maybe the point where Shanks one shot kid, I got emotional because I was like, oh my god, this is happening, this is crazy. But it's like, yeah, honestly, we really are getting into that point in the story, and it is a really insane realization to think that and saying we've been speculating this stuff for so many years, and we've been wondering this for so many years, and then now it's like last chapter, yeah, they just talked about like when they dropped the line saying, you know, what happened to the queen that got lost all those years ago. Okay, counter question: what's the Wheel of D then? I was like, oh my god, we're getting characters that are directly like addressing these sort of things, and previously it's kind of like the Will of D, and then nobody talks about it. It's kind of like, oh, something that you do. But people are actively now questioning these things, and we're getting a fly on the wall into these sorts of spaces, like the Mary Joes. Like, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, or the fact that there's characters like seeing Imu in person.
Oh my god,
it's like holy crap.
yeah.
What is Imu doing?
Yeah, that was a ballsy move. Like, oh my god, what are you doing here? It's like you know, like your parent like dressed up in the Santa suit coming out in the middle of the night. It's like, what are you doing? It's like, what do you go back? It's like, no. So it was crazy. It is, and we are at the spear point, and I mean, I'd be a little bit upset if next chapter we don't continue exactly where we left off. But I mean, Oda's track record easy goes to a different scene. But then again,
I don't know. The fact that we've got a chapter break,
yeah.
I am thinking that we're probably going to go back to Egghead Island at this point. We've spent so long outside of Egghead now. I think it was it 1078 was the last time that we were at Egghead Island. Like,
oh my god, it's a while ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago. I mean, we like traveled all around the world. It's been so long since we've seen Luffy and the Straw Hats that now that after he's left us with like this huge sort of this huge mystery. I mean, we say that there were big reveals, and in one way there were reveals, but this last chapter was like the biggest cock tease.
It really was.
Honestly,
Yes.
it was just a little bunch of things just like dangled in front of us, and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, and that was the it's like, you know, when like you're doing like a chapter review or something, like, oh my god, I got the perfect title for this, the perfect title to describe this chapter. It's like, oh wait, I can't put cock tease in the title, I'll get demonetized. But that's the perfect way to put it. Yeah, but then also, yeah, every aspect of the story that we can turn to is like so good. So even if we move away from this moment, which is like, this is the moment, like I want to be right here to see what happens next. If we move along to Egghead, we are most definitely going to be heading straight towards this Egghead incident.
Yeah.
Do you have any sort of idea about like what you think it could be, or who it could involve directly, or?
Well, the fact that, Kizaru and Saint Garcia, they're all on their way, I think it has to involve some sort of, like showdown between them and the Straw Hats. But another thing that the last chapter sort of reminded me of was that line in Dressrosa, at the end of Dressrosa, when we see the Straw Hat Grand Fleet form. There was a narration box that said something along the lines of, like, through some like unlikely events that no one could have predicted or have like controlled, these like odd group of men decide to follow like Luffy and join like his grand fleet, and but then they would go on to cause like some big incident that the world, like, that's going to be an earth-shattering event, something along those lines, right?
Yeah.
Which is very similar to what we got in the last time we saw the Straw Hats, like, something's going to change, like the, in the next day, like the big event that the world couldn't have predicted. Now I'm thinking like maybe like that's how this is all going to connect. And I'm thinking maybe what Sai and Leo did at Marijois is going to have been the catalyst for creating like some sort of big event that Luffy and the Straw Hats are going to get involved in. If there's two Grand Fleet members who've just attempted to murdered a celestial dragon, and then Luffy's going to be like, well, you're the senior captain, they're members of the Grand Fleet, and Luffy's like, my guys? They punched St. Charles? Hell yeah. Okay, they did that.
Yeah, that
was my doing.
I'm doubling down. That was my idea.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. That could actually be a way in which it all ties together, and I do appreciate that. A lot of people's thoughts has been directly, to do with Saturn, and like, the whole parallel of Luffy, punching a celestial dragon, punching Saturn. And I was trying to think of like a way in which that could make sense, because I mean, even if he appeared, him jumping up and hitting them doesn't make really sense. But I'm really holding on the hope that we get a payoff with the pursuit to capture Robin. I don't want them to capture Robin by all means. I don't want a repeat of that again.
Yeah.
But because they've been actively trying to have her in their mind and try to get her, I wouldn't be surprised they arrive. It's like, oh, while we're here, we're going to go and just take her, or like take her out while we're here. And maybe the act of doing that, trying to, or like saying we're going to go after her, like it will set Luffy off to retaliate. But I really am afraid of this whole trend of Law getting taken down, Kid getting taken down, and then going on to Luffy. But the key difference between them all is that Luffy is an emperor and the others are not. And Kid and Law were taken down by emperors. So that's a really interesting dynamic to this whole story. But yeah, I guess maybe you could say in some way the earth-shattering moment that no one would suspect is that a emperor was taken out in like one hit, or taken out in like in a swift instant. That would be earth-shattering news if that was the case, and if it's the trend with Law and Kid and then Luffy, then that would make sense too.
For sure. That'd be crazy actually, to think that like to say an admiral was able to take out an emperor like just so swiftly. That would be a crazy like news. I think just out of my love, I think I'd say like I hope that doesn't happen. After seeing all of the power-ups that we've just seen like Luffy and the Straw Hats go through. But yeah, it would be crazy because you don't really know what Saint Garcia is possible of. Like, and see, this is the question, right? Because when we first got the reveal that Saturn was on his way alongside Kizaru, you sort of were like, oh, holy crap, okay, so the Gorosei aren't just like figureheads. They're not just there to be powerful people. Like they might actually be fighters. Like they might be actually able to fight. And that's why he's also on his way. And then you see like, hang on a second. We also now have the Holy Knights. And the Holy Knights seems to be the sort of military group. In which case, so what, like the Gorosei can fight and also the Holy Knights can fight. So the marriage, like, the world government just has all of these different sort of factions within the world government and they're all capable fighters. Like, what's going on? And so it's like, can Saturn fight, or is he there to play a combat role, or is he there to play some sort of other role?
I now have seen as many anime and manga to now know that you do not underestimate the old man. The old man's strength is real, and especially if you have these people at the figurehead of like the entire world. I would definitely think that's the case. But then also, it's like you mentioned, are they like a capable fighter? Or I mean, because like, look, they're old and they look a bit frail and they look a bit I don't like look like they're gonna go toe to toe like with like physical fighting. But I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we continue this trend of focusing on Haki, that they're able to fight like distance wise, or like have like with Haki, because the way the Haki's been evolving recently has been really cool. And so I'm excited to see what the limits are that Haki will go to, because now we're learning more and more about these high-end characters, and anything is really possible. Yeah, anything is really possible now, which is really cool.
Sorry. It's a thing that runs through my head every time I hear the words.
What is it?
That'll be interesting. So it's from basketball, it's a meme now, but anything is possible.
Oh yeah, okay.
I'll send you the clip later.
Okay. Oh man, I mean, look, that's that. I was gonna say, I was gonna really take a sidestep away from One Piece, because you saying that maybe ask the question: if there's any sort of series that you would like to recommend to me or to anybody, what one would it be, and why is it Slam Dunk?
You already knew. You already knew. So from that response, I imagine you actually watched Slam Dunk before.
No, that is my controversial opinion. I'm sorry. Thanks for being on the stream with me today.
It's your apology stream.
Yeah, that's right. Oh no, I'm
Now,
sorry.
you only have to apologize if you say that you don't like it after you've started it.
Oh,
No,
okay.
but Slam Dunk is honestly, it's just such a feel-good series. The artwork is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's got it's got the comedy that you want. If you're someone who loves watching the Zoro and Sanji interactions and sort of the classic rivalry that you see across so many different shonen series, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'd say that Slam Dunk is probably one of the pioneers um, in having that sort of trope or having that sort of character relationship because you get it from the two main characters.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also just a classic story about a journey of, of someone, the classic, shonen journey of a young boy, or not a young boy, but a young man, I don't know, that, 16, 17
Mm-hmm.
year old,
Yep.
like that teenager boy status, going through a journey of discovering sport that he wasn't initially interested in, and he only joined because he wanted to impress a girl that he likes. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
classic
Yep.
comedy hijink. And then it actually turns into something serious where he falls in love with the sport. And you, as the audience, also fall in love with the sport because you get to see some of the you get to see his development, you get to see, like his emotional journey, his like physical aptitude and how he like fits well with the sport. And someone like for me, I like the sport of basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not very good at it because I am what you can say vertically challenged. Um
Okay. Yes.
so
Okay.
so I'm not a good player. I have played in sort of like like what do you call it? I guess seasons, and I have joined a few like teams here like just playing. But I've never been really good, but also only started playing like recently, or at the time that I was watching Slam Dunk or first watched Slam Dunk. I'd only started playing recently. So it sort of felt like my journey falling in love with the sport all over again and appreciating it in a new way. But even if you don't particularly love basketball, or if you're not particularly interested in basketball, it does have a knack in making you feel, that sense of accomplishment and the sense of, any sort of new hobby or any sort of new passion that when someone's interested in it, when someone their first spark for that sport is ignited, and the sort of journey that you go through, it is an amazing journey. So yes, I would 10 out of 10 recommend it. It's not super long as well. And I don't know, I suppose it's like the animation is old obviously when you're first watching the anime, but it's a lot of fun. I wouldn't say that it's like particularly slow because the pacing's done right, and then you get to read the artwork as well, and then you see, oh my god, like Takeo Inoue, like such a great artist. I don't know if you've ever watched if you've read Vagabond.
Yes.
Yeah, so oh, you have. Okay, so I
Yes.
haven't read that. Um
Okay.
but yeah, super up there.
Yes.
Like the emotions that you feel like.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I associate his work with Vagabond, and just like I absolutely love the artwork. Like it's just the actual honestly works of art, and it's so interesting to
Mm,
have someone do a story like that who also did Slam Dunk. I find that's very
mm.
fascinating. Um, but already his track record is already super duper high, so I know that it's going to be done really well. But yeah, I mean, I've tried my hand at different sports series. Like I watched, was it Haikyuu?
Haikyuu, yeah.
Haikyuu, yeah, that was fun. I didn't get all the way through it, but it was very fun. I
Hmm.
tried getting into Hajime no Ippo.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I definitely am into that whole kind of dynamic of a team, and then yeah, like you said, like falling in love and just getting progressively better in a sport that's like
Mm,
very competitive is very cool.
mm.
Um, and I was gonna ask, what is your recommended way to experience Slam Dunk if you have the choice? Like for me, my favorite manga is Berserk, to the point of getting it tattooed. So I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I love it for the artwork. So if you
Hmm.
have a choice, I'd probably say like reading the manga, you can just go straight through it. But would you prefer watch the anime first or the manga first, or?
For me personally, I I think it's not necessarily that this is like slam dunk specific. But even with like One Piece, I would always recommend just watching the anime, but that's personally because I prefer watching over reading.
Yeah.
Um, but I think it has to do with like what sort of, like learner you are, right? Like, how some people are like visual learners or like auditory learners and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. Like I prefer the anime experience. Like if you can have like the soundtrack going through, you can have like the dynamic movement and stuff. That's just something that I personally enjoy. I will say though that the manga for Slam Dunk, like because you just mentioned, like yeah, the mangaka, he's like super talented, and
Mm-hmm.
his works are literally works of art. It's not
Mm-hmm.
just like panels. Like the amount of detail that you see, like the facial expressions, like it is like truly top tier. So the manga definitely is great. Um, but I think the soundtrack for Slam Dunk is really funny as well. And like I said, like unless there's a problem with pacing, like unless there's a problem where I think the anime is not doing it justice, then I will always prefer watching it first. But that being said, the fact that the anime actually never finished animating the entire series.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
so I think what happened was, from my understanding, is that Inoue-san decided that he didn't want the anime to continue animating, and I think he might not have given them the rights to continue animating the entire series. Well, that's my understanding of it anyways. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
too sure if that's correct, which is why the anime never finished. And the point at which they stopped was actually like a pretty good like sweet spot. But then you end up finding out that there is actually like the series actually gets continued, and you go to the end, and so you see and then you realize that you can actually read the rest of the series, and in that way you get to pick up, and then you get to also experience the manga for what it is. And
Mm-hmm.
I think being like Slam Dunk having been one of Inue's earlier works, like obviously it came before Vagabond, for example. I think his art style like really progressed throughout the series as well. So by that point, his artwork had definitely like improved since I think when the manga would have first started.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think going from the anime to the manga I think that's a good journey. And that's also how I like, for example, that's how I started One Piece. Like I had no problem with the One Piece animation at the beginning. I think like obviously it's an older style of anime than what we're used to now. And for a lot of people, if you are used to seeing the likes of like, I don't know, like Demon Slayer and like Chainsaw Man and all the new stuff that's coming out, starting One Piece might feel quite slow. But if you're someone who doesn't mind like the slow, like very, casual and like very laid back style of anime, it's a really lovely, like nostalgic um piece of art really to enjoy. I don't know if that's been your experience, but I always get very nostalgic and I always feel very good and just sort of like at peace watching the earlier seasons of One Piece. And then it wasn't only sort of until later when the anime started getting like super drawn out and like really slow paced. That's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to switch over to the manga, because one, I was binging the One Piece series, so I only started reading it, watching slash reading it end of 2019.
Okay.
So quite recent, like,
Mm-hmm.
relatively recent to a lot of other people in the fan base. And so I was at a period when like people around me were telling me, my one of my best friends was telling me like, you gotta watch up, like you gotta watch this,
Mm-hmm.
and you gotta catch up because like there are crazy things happening. It was like, during Wano.
Yeah.
And so for me, the goal was like, I need to binge this series and I need to catch up. And so watching the anime and seeing it super slow, I was like, I'm never going to catch up at this rate.
Yep.
Which is why I had to switch over to the
Mm-hmm.
manga. And I was like just binging the crap out of the manga. Like it happened at a really good time because I switched over to the manga just as COVID was starting to become a world pandemic.
Yeah.
It was around like January, February 2020. And I had also gotten sick.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't COVID. I just
Yeah.
had like a regular cold or a regular flu. And so I was staying home from work and I was staying home from uni and all of that. And so I just had a lot of time on my hands. And all I did, I remember for about like 10 days to 2 weeks, all I did was I would eat, sleep, read, repeat. Eat, sleep,
Uh-huh.
read, repeat.
Yep.
And that's all I was doing. I'd like wake up, I'd eat, and then I'd like read a couple of chapters of One Piece, like feel really sick again, like go back to sleep, wake
Mm-hmm.
up, eat, read, and that's all I did for about 10 days, and then I caught up. Um, And sorry, I've gone off a bit of a tangent here. What were we
Yeah,
talking
we-
about?
this is from Slam Dunk.
Yeah.
But I mean, I totally relate to that. Where I mean, there's a couple of series where I've done that. Where I did it with Bleach. I went and like watched the entire. I watched like the entire series, all 366 episodes. It was like my brother was on a trip to America, and he's like, "Do you want to go and stay in my house and look after it for like 2 weeks?" I was like, "Okay." And then I was by myself, and this is like my first time really being by myself and kind of doing things. I'm like, what do I do?
Mm.
It's like, I'm gonna go and binge all of Bleach. So I went and watched it, and I didn't know anything about filler episodes at that point.
I was just about to ask.
Yeah, I was gonna say there were parts where I'm watching this, and it has like the characters that are like vampires or some random things. I'm like, wait, like this doesn't really make much sense. Nothing really matters. And then like this episode would happen, and they wouldn't address anything beforehand. It's like, what is happening here? So yeah, but
Did that not turn you off?
surprisingly not. I think I was just so committed. I'm like, I'm getting through this because I knew the cool stuff happening later too. And if you know the cool
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
happening, like when I was watching through One Piece, I was like, oh, I kind of know that these people are part of the crew, and that Luffy's got like a scar and like this and
Yeah.
this. I was like, wow, like what's this stuff gonna happen? And yeah, like I mean, I caught up with One Piece with the anime at Punk Hazard. I went and I think that was like the latest episode that happened was that, and then the first chapter I read of the manga was when Law cut Virgo in half and cut the entirety of Punk Hazard in half. So I was like, oh my god, we're gonna get this animated next week. I was like, oh my god. That was epic. So that was really cool. But
Yeah, wow, you stuck it through quite long in the anime then.
I did, yeah. But it's like the
Did you watch the? I mean, there really aren't that many fillers for One Piece, I suppose. So it's not a huge endeavor there to watch the entire watch the entirety of the anime episodes and watching the fillers as well as it is in Bleach or some other series.
Could be worse. It could have been Naruto. But it's I believe I did watch through the fillers because I mean we got given from my brother's friend the box sets, and so it's like okay, we go and watch through the box sets, but if we're watching online and we're like, okay, now we know like this episode of filler, this episode of filler, we can plan ahead. But if we just put on the DVD and just watch it. But I'll never forget there was we had like my brother went and spoiled for me that like Ace died. It was like he was like, oh, Ace dies this arc. I was like, what? It's like, why would you? He's like, oh. It's like, what? And then we're watching it, and then
That's a crime.
I know,
against humanity.
I know. It's like, what? And then when it happened, it's like me and my brother kind of just like staring at the screen. It's like, you know, you're having that manly brotherly bond where you don't show emotion to each other. You just stare at the screen, just holding back tears. And then when it was done, we're like, that was pretty sad. Like, yeah, that was really sad. That was it's like, wow.
Oh no.
But yeah.
There's no such thing as no, I think those couple of chapters with Odin at the end of the Wano flashback, you know, we're not men, we're men of the Pirate King's crew. Like there are no such thing as tears. Like a sad goodbye and everyone's just like crying.
Yeah.
You should have just let the flood works go. I remember
I know.
I don't know if you follow Demon Slayer, but I went to watch the Mugen Train movie in the cinemas, and I went and watched that with Liam, another best friend of mine and Liam's wife, and we went to watch that together. And Liam's wife doesn't follow Demon Slayer, but the rest of us, like all three of us, do. And I remember when I'm gonna say it, and I'm gonna hope that this isn't a spoiler.
I don't know any characters' names. I don't know anything, so it's not gonna be a spoiler for me.
Okay, well, anyway, if anyone in the chat hasn't watched it by now, you're probably not either all that interested or, well, Rengoku dies.
Oh my god. Oh no.
And it's super sad. And I was thinking like, oh my god, this is really embarrassing. I've never cried in front of Liam as in like the
Yeah.
Grand Line review.
Yeah.
I never cried in front of him before. And then I sort of like took a sneak like peek,
Mm.
and I saw Liam was crying, and I saw my best friend, he was also crying, and I was
Oh
like,
no.
do this then, yeah, like.
Oh no.
We were all just crying in the theaters. You just gotta let it out. You
Yeah,
gotta let it out.
it's quite a it's such, I mean, like, yeah, it's such a experience being able just to kind of let your emotions out like that. The last time I can remember doing that was when we're watching like the Last of Us TV series. And have you seen the Last of Us series?
No, but
Okay.
I've heard that it's really good and that I should start.
Yeah, it's like we kind of know where the story's going, what characters are going to appear. Like, oh, this character's going to show up in this episode. And then all of a sudden, like, this character that was a certain way gets a whole episode. It's like an hour and a half long. It's like the most beautiful love story. Unexpected turn
Yeah.
of this character, so well made. And then yeah, me and my fiance just like, yeah, we're just like crying. We're just like, because it's like a love story and everything, and it's like
Yeah.
it's so just deep and meaningful and sad and beautiful. And yeah, when you're able just to look over and see that and you're both feeling it, like, yeah, this is beautiful. So I'm glad that Demon Slayer made you feel that way. Not like,
I mean,
not the sadness part, but just like the fact that it just, it was able to bring out
Yeah.
such like emotions. Well, I guess it made you sad, but it just brought out yeah.
I don't know if you've experienced this before, because I don't know how what your, like, I guess YouTube video making process is, but
Okay.
I often use like screenshots, and I use like videos from the anime
Yeah.
and incorporate that into my YouTube videos.
Mhm.
And so because of that means that I have to go back and I like rewatch, like inadvertently rewatch like episodes, because I'm like grabbing screenshots or whatnot.
Yeah.
And recently I made like a what if Ace survived that Marineford video,
Mhm.
and so because of that I had to go back and I was like taking screenshots from like the Marineford arc,
Yeah.
which meant that I watched Ace's death all over again. And I got sad, like all over again. I like, even preparing for the video, when I was like getting my notes ready, I went to like reread the manga to like see like exactly what the timeline of events was. And I was reading it, and I was like watching the whole thing unfold again before me, and I was like,
You're like,
this is
Ace, no.
emotional.
You're like, stop. No. I have a scene for me that I've gone back and rewatched countless times, and it just hits every single time, is Whitebeard's speech. Just, oh my god, like, just, yeah, this, oh my god.
At the same time, like, you're feeling like the goosebumps and just like the whole awe and like,
And yeah, the soundtrack swelling up, and
yeah,
oh my god, it's just, it's unbelievable. That nothing comes close. I think that's my number one. Like, just like, I don't even know how to describe it, but like, for me, it's, yeah, just a moment that really hits home, and it just always
Yeah.
does. And like, I mean, when the Going Merry went, I was a wreck. I was a wreck for the Going Merry.
Right. I remember actually when I was catching up, after I watched that episode, I texted my friend like immediately and going, dude, like, what the fuck is happening? Why am I in tears over a freaking ship? Like, what has this series done to me? Like, I could not believe it. Because One Piece was a series that I swore that I would never get into. So, a bit of like a anime background for me is that I got into anime quite late into my life. Like,
Mhm.
when I was young, I watched like Sailor Moon, and like I watched episodes of like, Pokemon here and there. But like when I was in my teenage years, like high school or whatnot, I never really got into Naruto or like Bleach, even though they were
Mhm.
really popular at the time. And then when I started working, I had a group of friends. There was like 3 of us, and the 2 guys were like really into anime, and they were both like One Piece fans. They both loved the Naruto, loved all of these series, and they were talking about like anime all like so often that I ended up getting into Naruto.
Mhm.
And I watched I finished it. I did not watch the fillers. Thank you.
Oh my god, yeah,
I,
dodge that
it's
bullet.
like a
Yep.
half. Yeah. I was warned. I was pre-warned. So
Okay.
I watched all of Naruto, and that took a while, right? Like it's a long series. Even without the fillers, because it's like even Naruto is quite old and slow paced
Hmm.
in some episodes. So it took me a while. And then when my best friend, he was like, you should watch One Piece. I was like, dude, I just finished Naruto. Like, there's no way I'm gonna start One Piece now. Like Naruto was like 1,000 episodes, and half of that was fillers. That took me so long. Like One Piece is 1,000 episodes and there are no fillers. Like, do you know how long that's gonna take me?
Yeah.
Like no, that's my entire life. And then I don't know what happened, but just one day, I know what happened actually. My friend, he was at work, and I went to visit him on his level because we work on different floors,
Hmm.
and he had just read, um, I think it must be chapter 957. I want to say if it's 956 or 957. It's the Roger he just laughed chapter,
Oh wow.
and they called it Laugh Tale. And obviously
Wow.
for the community, you'll know that up until that point, Laugh Tale was known as a Laugh Tale. And
Yeah.
so it was sort of like the big reveal that it's actually the name is actually Laugh Tale, which spans a whole lot of like new speculations about what the One Piece might be,
Uh-huh.
and what the whole journey is about. And he was just going nuts having read that chapter. And like he was just like jumping up and down, and I thought of like if a series can get someone like this excited, if a series can get a grown man like jumping up and down while at work,
Yeah.
um, like this must be a pretty good series. And so I think I decided, okay, I'll have to start One Piece. Um, and then I was watching that Going Merry scene, like and that arc is just such an emotional arc. I'd have to
Yeah.
say, probably, I'd say like Water 7 and Enies Lobby put together, probably still my favorite arc.
Hmm. Okay.
I don't know about you. What would you have a favorite arc?
I mean, I recently did a tier list
Okay.
for a tier list stream. It was the last one, the hype stream number 10. And yeah, I believe I put Annie's Lobby I think as like an S tier.
Yeah, has to
Yeah,
be.
because it's like, yeah, it's just got everything. And for me, the biggest moments, the biggest emotional moments for me are all in that. So in terms of like hype, you got like Luffy doing gear second and gear third, like him
Mm,
doing gear second
mm,
against Bluno. That was like, oh my god, this is the coolest thing ever. Oh
yeah.
my god, I
That's
love
still a
that.
scene where you get goosebumps every time
Oh
you watch
yeah,
that as well.
oh
Yeah.
yeah. I'm. That's another moment. I was like, yes, and everything to do with Usopp and the fight against Usopp. That when a character is shown to be kind of like a silly, goofy, weak kind of character, but then all of a sudden they get serious. I love those kind of things. It's kind of like in series where you have like the bad guy goes on the good guy side. Like they have that kind of
Yeah.
change. It's like, wow, that's really cool. So I love that. And just it really giving Luffy a great like psychological kind of fight. Like he knew everything about Luffy, so he could go and counter him.
Mm,
I love that. I thought it was really cool. And then just the emotional payoff with that, where they're all just crying and it's all just really sad, and the Going Mary's tearing up, and it's just
oh,
God, it's all it's so emotional. And then yeah, the everything to do with that, and then the Zoro and Yell Jumble and with Sanji and
oh yeah.
everything, Monster
Like the
Point,
proper one-on-one fights that we're
yeah,
seeing. Yeah, 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 yeah.
everything. And then yeah, and then the whole finale with the Going Merry, you know.
Yeah.
And then you have Robin grabbing Frankie's balls, and it's like that was a very
Yeah,
emotional
good
moment
amount of
too.
comedy as well.
That was I don't know. It's got everything. It honestly had everything. So it was such a fantastic arc. So I do
Mm,
understand that being your favorite. Um, and man, I think talking about it now, I think I might have to be up there because I mean, I want the easy answer is to say like, oh, Marineford, but it's like
yeah.
kind of flicking through it. I don't know. It's like, it has some really cool scenes, really sad scenes and everything, the
Mhm,
Whitebeard speech and everything like that. But in terms of like the highs and lows and the fun moments and the sad moments and everything,
mm.
yeah, I think the Water 7 and his lobby kind of saga is
Yeah.
unmatched. I really do think. Yeah.
I think for me it's because the Straw Hats is like my favorite part of One Piece. And so like as much as I love Marineford and it's such a amazing arc and like, very emotional, super hype. Probably like peak One Piece.
Yep.
The Straw Hats, the fact that they're not there, I think like means that it can't be my favorite arc. Whereas
Yeah.
like, whereas like any Slubby, Water 7, it's such like a peak Straw Hats arc. Which is sad because not all the Straw Hats were there at that point. Because we're missing like Jinbei and Brook. But like still just at that point, like the Straw Hats like really came into their own, I think. Watching like Robin, like
Oh my god.
I want to live, and like when they're all
Oh my
standing
god.
there, and like like Sogeking like
Yeah.
shoots like the arrow. It's like, yeah,
Yeah. Oh
definitely,
my god.
definitely, the best for me.
Yeah, I definitely. Oh, you're swaying me now. You're swaying me. I think I might have to say it's the best one because I mean, yeah, I if all the reasons we mentioned for sure, it's just so good. I was gonna ask you, but we just kind of went on the on a big tangent, which is also fun. What was the first anime that you went and watched?
Um,
Like properly sit down
I
and watch, other than like, because for me, I would flick on TV, yeah, and it would be like Pokemon or like Yu-Gi-Oh and like whatever. But like the one for me that I sat down and watched, I think I'm pretty sure it was Death Note. I'm pretty sure it was Death Note was
yeah.
the first one for me.
Yeah, Death Note was probably one of my first. I'm not too sure. I don't think I could say that it was definitely my first, but it was definitely one of my first. I would probably say that I think I might have started Naruto first,
Okay.
but as I was watching a couple of series together because I was usually watching Naruto with a friend. I wasn't watching it alone.
Yep.
And so like when I was while I was watching Naruto with my friends, I would watch I think I finished Samurai Champloo.
Okay.
Yeah. Um and then probably Death Note afterwards. But I think Death Note is a great series for people who are new to the world of anime to really
Yeah.
get into.
Yeah.
Death Note until at least
Uh-huh.
until L dies.
Yeah. Okay. Spoiler alert. I was gonna I was gonna say until episode 25 or something
Oh,
like that. Oh, it's been
My
out for a
bad.
while. It's been out for ages. And what about in terms of like manga? What was the first one that got you to like read manga or what that one?
That was One Piece. So I
Oh,
don't
One Piece,
really
the very
I
first
don't read
manga,
a
One
lot
Piece.
of
Wow. Okay.
yeah, I don't read a lot of manga actually.
Mm.
Like so I do read like from time to time if I know that the anime isn't out yet and I've heard that it's really good, but like I said, I like if an anime does it well, I prefer watching the
Yeah.
anime because I
Yeah.
like watching it with like the whole like
Mm-hmm.
soundtrack and like the whole like visual effects. Um but yeah, the first one would have been One Piece. Is Berserk the first one for you?
Berserker's the first one. Yeah, because
Right.
the anime finale was that terrible. Like it was like the biggest cliffhanger in history. I still haven't seen one that's that bad.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need to know what happens next, and so I directly jumped on and read the rest of it. And that was the first manga that I read.
Mm.
Yeah, but I really do understand the whole thing of the soundtracks playing a big part. So when I'd read manga, I would have the soundtracks playing as I read them, and I would time
Oh,
them. Like I would have the calm ones playing in the calm scenes, and then when the action comes in, I play the action scenes, the music to make it more immersive, and to get more
wow,
hype
that's a
up.
really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and especially that one big one for me to do that was Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan, I think, is my favorite
Oh.
anime soundtrack.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm a huge fan of the really like orchestral, dramatic,
Yep.
intense
Mm-hmm.
music. I love that.
Yeah.
Like my favorite I think like movie kind of like composer is Hans Zimmer. And like
Yep.
and Inception is like one of my favorite movies because when I was in the
Uh-huh.
cinema, hearing that soundtrack in the cinema, I was like, oh my
Yeah.
god, I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna listen to everything. And so I love that kind of set music. And Attack on Titan
Yep.
has like such intense, dramatic,
Yeah.
epic hype music, and so I love it. And also really nice, beautiful piano and stuff. So like I love
Hmm.
listening to that with reading the manga. Um, Yeah, so that was a really fun experience for me. And I can also take that soundtrack and put it into different series. Like if I'm reading, like, for instance, when I tried to go and read through The Witcher, I would have that playing, or I'd read Invincible, like the comic. I'd go and have that playing because the calm sounds are really nice and the intense ones are really good. So that's how I'd read.
Really cool way to experience things. I'll have to try that out. That's actually really smart.
Yeah. Oh, like
Yeah,
I can't imagine reading through Whitebeard's speech in the manga with the soundtrack. Oh my god, stop it.
Yeah,
Stop it.
Immediately.
But, yeah, and then also like everything happening with One Piece now. Imagine kind of what soundtrack that they would use.
Like seeing like the crescendo and
also, I was gonna ask the Zoro King episode comes out today, right?
I know.
I was gonna say, when does that come out? Is it for 12 o'clock for us? I think it's 12.
Yeah, something like that.
Thank God. Because I was going to say, it's like going up head to head with the Super Bowl. I was going to say, wait a minute. We're getting people over here. They're going to be out watching the greatness of Zoro versus King. That's going to be great. I'm looking forward to that. Did you watch the
Sanji versus Queen?
I did watch the Sanji versus Queen.
Yeah. Yeah. So good.
Yeah. It's I mean I've got, like, you know, I got Sanji here. Sanji's chilling. I got him over here in his little seat here, but I'm a Zoro guy, and like I'm so keen for Zoro.
You're a Zoro. Okay. Actually, yeah. Favorite character.
Favorite character. Wait, can I zoom in? Zoom in.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, favorite character, confirmed. But in terms of like Straw Hats, that's a tough one, isn't it? Favorite Straw Hat. Oh, I mean, I like Zoro, and I also like Robin, and I also I can't decide against my children. I can't choose any of my children. It's easy for me to say Shanks. I love Shanks. I can easily just say, yep, Shanks number 1, done.
Oh, you've had a good run recently then.
I've had a great run. I've had the best run of my life with this man. This man has made me so happy. I'm such a proud dad. Oh my god, Shanks is my man.
I have to say the I don't know if that's like a poster or if that's like a
Do I need to do
not the frame. I mean of Shanks.
I was gonna say, anyway, yeah, this. No, okay, but yeah, that one here, yes.
Yeah, that one. It, very like it makes me feel very evil Shanks. It's very reminiscent of the whole evil Shanks theory, which I'm sure you know about.
Which is a great transition into the latest things that have been happening right now with you know, with, for instance, God's Knights. For some reason, it looks like there's someone that looks a lot like Shanks in front and center in God's Knights, and we know his backstory with Film Red, and his ties with like everything, and how he met with the 5 elders. But then also, I'm seeing side-to-side panels of him with the 5 elders saying you can't see his scars, and then there's like there's an exact side-by-side angled panel where you can see the scar over his nose, like over his cheek, but in the other one he can't. And it's real tinfoil hat territory. Do you have any sort of thoughts on this?
I mean, I've I made a video about that as well, because it's like exactly I came across those same panels, and then when you actually look at Shanks's meeting with Whitebeard, you know, like way back when, you see sort of like a same you see a panel similar angle where you only see him from his right side, and you can actually see the scar sort of like going, you know, you can see the scar from that angle, so it's like, why can't you see it in this panel? So you know, maybe maybe it's like there is a clone Shanks, maybe it's a twin, maybe it's like his brother, maybe like, you know, now we've got clones in One Piece, like do we have clones? I'm now thinking like
that was the big thing when that came out. It was like, as soon as that was revealed about the whole clone, it was like everybody's a clone. It's like all the clone theories.
Yeah.
Oh
Clone
no.
Piece. Yeah, what have you started, Oda?
I can't believe that he actually confirmed 2-piece. That was really crazy. Like at the start of Elbaf with Shanks having that same scene. I can't believe 2-piece was confirmed. That's crazy.
And not only Shanks, the other silhouette, I think it's on his on his right, like looking from our point of view, it's the left. There's someone with like dragon's hair.
um,
The silhouette of God's Knights. It's like there's dragon there as well. It's like, what is going on?
Oh no! Is this? Oh no! Are they cloning all the? Is this like when you make a creator team? Like for instance, I'm gonna do something like for say for example with basketball, like you're doing a creator team in like NBA, and you get all the best players.
Yeah.
You're getting all the all-star players. Oh my
Yeah.
god! You're getting Shanks in there. You're getting
Exactly,
Dragon. You're getting
exactly.
Rocks. You're getting
Yeah, exactly.
God. I tell you what though, I was so hyped when Shanks got introduced and he did his attack, and it's just like him and Dorian Broggy are just doing the
Oh.
greatest hits. They're just taking the best moveset of everyone and just doing it because like this works. It was really cool to see that.
Yeah.
Oh man. Also, weird. I saw. Okay, I want to just take a second, right? And I just want to acknowledge everybody in the chat. You guys are
Yeah.
crazy. There is an energy in this chat that is crazy. Whether it be the Hype Pirates and the Joy Fleet just joining forces for the great, like the alliance of the century. You guys are crazy. I see terrible TJ. I see Ronnie in the chat gifting essentially subs, memberships to everybody here. Is crazy. I love you guys. You're making this so cool for everybody. And I saw somebody put in here and mention Lily in the chat. So that really is like, oh, I want to mention something about Lily. I don't know if maybe this is a common thing that people have sort of thought of. But I sort of was like, that's kind of interesting. Let me kind of figure this out. And I was like, oh wait, that actually lines up. The fact that like, so Lily, Queen Lily, is it like 800 years ago is pretty much her story where she got disappeared? Was it like 800 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
Would have to be, right? Because it's like just before the Void Century, and it's sort
Yeah.
of when the world government formed.
Okay. Do you find it interesting that Lily and Vivi have 8 letters of separation between them and they're 800 years apart? So you have LOPQRSTUV is 8.
That's a weird. I didn't even think about it along those lines.
I know.
but,
I was like, Lily and Vivi. I was like, interesting. What if it was like this? And I'm kind of like, it's. I think it may be because at work I've been playing a lot of Wordle. I've been staring at something like, what if it's this word? What if it's this word? I'm like, what if it's like this? And I'm like, oh wait, that's 8, and that's 800
Yeah.
years ago. And I'm like, that's really cool. But then also I'm like, I have nothing really to compare this to. I'm like, this is like where a theory video, that'd be a perfect piece of a theory video. Like, well, I have nothing else to really say. But I was like, oh my God, that's really cool. So I want to know if anybody else was thinking that. If anyone in the chat has thought of that too, maybe you can elaborate. But I thought that was pretty cool.
That connects to anything. If there's anything else that goes on beyond that, I mean, yeah, why not? Like,
Interesting. Interesting. Probably the only really deep dive theory thing I've done. Because I used to do theories years and years ago, and I used to do like my very first theory video was like an 8-part like who the Straw Hats are going to be theory video. So I was like really doing a lot of deep dive stuff, and it's just like it really overwhelmed me. I was like, I can't think of all these new theories and running my brain out. So I've kind of taken a step back. It is a hole.
Yeah,
and I've stepped back now and kind of made a bit more fun, goofy content. But it's like that moment was like, oh my God, that is fun. That is cool. And I understand why people spend all their time coming up with really crazy theories, and you know, it's a fun time.
I mean, I have to agree. Like, there was a period in my YouTube journey where I was doing like delving deep into theories. And it is a lot of fun doing it, but it does take up a lot of your time.
That's
and
right.
It is like you do go down like a rabbit hole where you like start questioning everything, and you're like, wait, what about this and this? And I've stepped back from doing that as well, and I don't theorize so much anymore.
Yeah.
But every now and then you really can't help it because of the way that Oda writes his series. Just sort of like, that's not a coincidence. That can't be a coincidence. You're like, yeah, there's something fishy going on here.
He's a clone.
Yeah.
Stop talking to me, you clone. Also, Ronnie has donated. Hype, we are Nakama Unite. We unite all D One Piece communities. Keep the fire cooking. Salute, Nakama. We are all Nakama here. We are all good friends
Yes.
here. You're all welcome here. Everyone in the Joy Fleet is welcome here. Because this has been so much fun. Oh my god. This is it's funny. It's like I kind of like before the stream we were chatting about kind of how I was like, oh, okay, maybe we can structure it to go here and here. We started talking about Slam Dunk. We're talking about like all sorts of different things. And then also I kind of want to go and watch through Slam Dunk because I think that'd be pretty cool.
You
to
should.
do.
I would highly recommend.
Yeah, I don't know if you'd recommend me watching Slam Dunk, but maybe I will to watch Slam Dunk. Just a hunch. Okay. Is anybody have any questions in the chat? Throw it to me or Joy Girl. Throw it away. We've been having a great time chatting, but I'd love to go and hear from you guys directly. If there's any sort of things you'd like us to go and talk about. Also, I'm very excited directly after this to not only play Zelda, but to also watch Zoro versus King. I'm very excited for that. It's gonna be very great.
Double Z. I don't know who it was from. I think I saw from chat earlier that you were waiting to see my reaction to the latest chapter. I was really sick on, I think it was like Wednesday night, Thursday morning when the chapter dropped for us in Aussie time, and I was like, I can't react to the chapter live.
Yeah.
I think live reactions requires a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And it deserves a lot of energy.
That's right.
And so I thought I can't bring that level of energy. I don't know what's been the experience for you now, but now whenever I read a chapter, like it's only happened twice now. This is only my second time when I've not read the chapter live alongside everyone else during a reaction stream. I feel like I'm cheating on someone.
Oh, no.
It feels a little wrong.
Yeah.
And as soon as I read it, I was like, freak, like what a chapter to have missed out on reading live, because like this is one of like the greatest reveals.
I know. Yeah. I mean, like I am so I honestly I think for my sanity though, I'm just glad that I have this whole thing going on where I can do these live, like through a live stream, because back in the day the schedule was the chapter comes out maybe like on a Thursday for us at 5 o'clock, so I'd go and record it, and then I would edit it together, and then I'd upload it, and that whole process would mean I'll get my chapter up at like midnight, or not midnight, but I'd have it up getting ready to upload, and internet speeds were terrible back then, so then it would upload overnight. But now it's just the chapter for us normally comes out like on a Thursday or something during the day, and then
lately it's been super early though.
I know, and I have a really hard time I combat it where it's like I'm gonna jump on this right on time, like in front of everyone, but then also I'm like, well, I want to keep to a consistent kind of day so people can kind of expect it, and also it's good for me because it's consistent. So I tend to wait until Friday at like 7 p.m. Friday at 7 p.m. is when I go and do it, because I've come home and I'm like, I had my dinner, I'm chilling out, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go for a stream for an hour and then I'm gonna go to bed. But it's like, normally Fridays is when I do it, but it's been doing live streams, like live reactions with the streams is great because you get so hyped up in the moment reading these, oh my god, this is this, and then you read the comments, and then I read the comments like, doesn't that silhouette look a little similar on the God's Knights? I was like, what do you mean? Oh my god. And it's like people will tell you little bits and pieces about we may have missed, and it makes it even more hyped up. So I love that.
For sure.
My god. Ronnie.
Yeah, big W to Ronnie.
Ronnie is a legend in the community. Every stream I go to, I see Ronnie in there, and he is a very generous man. So Ronnie, thoughts on TJ's earlier was a negatory comment. Also, Den Kushi would love you both on the last ARC stream, my brother. Yell down. I'm on for jumping on people's streams. This has been so much fun. I went onto your stream, which I'm really grateful that you allowed me to be a part of that for was it Joymas? It was Joymas, wasn't it?
What I called it? Oh god, now hearing it sounds so corny.
Just Joymas. But that was really fun being able to go and chat with all you guys, and really trying to outbid Liam to win that One Piece Cup. I really want that One Piece Cup, and I'm just like, it's kind of like it was like a Usopp versus Luffy moment, and like no matter how hard I try, it's like okay. Yeah, that was good fun. But I'm down for joining on any people's streams. Oh my god, big W's in the chat. I'm gonna have to do a W right
Yeah,
now.
big W's. Yeah, jumping on other people's streams is always so much fun. I haven't had. I used to run like a guest series as well, when I'd invite guests to do streams with me as well.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't done that in a while. It's because I'm really technologically inept.
Okay.
And it always takes me a long time to set up, and there's always usually something going on. I have to say, I'm very impressed with your level of, I guess, skills in running today's stream, because everything's run really smoothly. And I have to say, also very impressed, given I know how bad Wi-Fi is in Australia. We have some terrible Wi-Fi, and so the fact that our stream today has gone off without glitch, like
Uh-huh.
anyone in the Joy Fleet knows that if we don't at least have like one technical problem in our stream, like it's not considered a Joy stream.
Yeah,
Because
that's right.
we always have to expect some sort of technical problem. So
Well,
it's
that your praise means a lot. And something that I've done is I've made my resolution settings a bit lower, because I'm afraid if I have it maxed out, it's just with this Australian internet, it's gonna implode. But I mean, yeah, I've done a few of these now, and I'm getting a bit more confident. I'll still kind of downplay everything, so it's still learning, but it's always been fun. To go and chat with you guys, that are a bit, I guess more involved in the community. Like, you have so many channels that you've hopped on. I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure, yeah, you would have hopped on like the Reverie and everything. With the Reverie, that's a fun experience. So yeah, but these sort of one-on-one interviews have been really fun, and I've been on one of them many years ago, and I've always wanted to do that myself. So this has been very, very cool to be able to go and do this. And I want to thank you again for jumping on here and chatting with me, because it's been very fun. And now I think I'm going to go and watch Slam Dunk. And I know that NHLB now is my all-time favorite arc, which is amazing too.
I'm glad to have converted you.
You've done good work. You've done God's work. Okay. So, is there anything you want to, I guess, touch on before? Because we've hit the 1 hour mark now. So kind of this.
We have hit.
Yeah.
That went by so quick. Honestly, that flew by. But I want to say it's always fun discussing One Piece with a friend. And you mentioned that you love soundtracks.
Yes.
Something that I've been wanting to go to for a while is, I don't know, you might have seen like ads for it, but it's like Candlelight, I think.
Oh
Where
yeah.
basically
Yeah.
yeah, and they have anime. They've had a Hans Zimmer one before.
Yeah.
Where you go and watch like an orchestra play like Hans Zimmer soundtracks. I think there's an anime one too. And I've been wanting to go to that, and we should go.
Oh my god.
Because I've been wanting to go.
That sounds
And
great.
we should go listen to like an orchestra playing anime soundtracks. The one in Sydney, which is
Yeah.
sort of the closest for both of us.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, don't have any One Piece in their set, but they do have Attack on Titan.
Oh my god.
And most of them is like Studio Ghibli, and yeah, Attack on Titan, like fantastic soundtrack as you mentioned. I do know that in the Melbourne one, I'm pretty sure they have a One Piece as well. So
Oh my god.
we'll see. But we'll toss up the options, but we should.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also.
Do that. Reach out for the Sydney one, and if something's happening in Melbourne for like the One Piece one, and I think maybe that may be the experience that I have that you had with Demon Slayer, where I have a little peek around and we're just bawling. Because for me, I have such a I have a whole body experience with music. Like, it's just when I have the perfect kind of like headphones on, or the music on, I can just imagine being in that kind of like room or space, and then with that orchestra, and it just kind of it's such a, and that's why I love being at the movies. And I'm particularly keen to go to see because like Oppenheimer and Barbie come out at the same time.
I know, I'm so excited.
Yeah, so it's like we're gonna see them. So it's like, all right, Oppenheimer at like the VMAX cinema for like, it's gonna be crazy. And then we're gonna go see Barbie probably like in Gold Lounge or something, just relax, watch Barbie. But those, yeah, I love that whole kind of experience with music. So I'd be absolutely 1000% down to go in and do that, because we saw the candlelight one for Hans Zimmer, and she actually said, look, I know you love Hans Zimmer, and they've got a candlelight one, but if it's like One Piece soundtracks and like Attack on Titan and even Studio Ghibli is beautiful.
Yeah, it is. It is
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah, I'm so down for that. That sounds great.
Yeah, well, I'm excited. I'll have to I'll look around again and then I'll let you know. But thank you so much for inviting me on stream. Like I said, I used to have guests on my stream and I haven't really had a chance to do that in a while. So I really appreciate it when other people call me on their stream because it's always a lot of fun discussing One
Yeah,
Piece and time always goes by so fast. I can't believe an hour's already up,
I
but it
know.
was a pleasure speaking to you. So if you ever if you ever want to chat again, whether that be on or off stream, let me know. And, I'd love to discuss all things One Piece and all things non One Piece as well.
Yeah, I'll be in to go and let you know my progress through Slam Dunk, and you
Yeah.
can tell me, yeah, like, you know, who my favorite characters are and everything. But
Okay. All right. Deal.
yeah, sounds great. Okay.
All right.
Yep.
Thanks
Okay.
for the chat as well. You guys have been great. I've loved reading sort of the side comments as I've been chatting along. So thank you. Everyone like the stream. If you're not already a subscriber of Hype Hunter, then make sure get hyped sub. I see that we only need 49 to get to that 1200 goal. So get to it.
Yeah. Oh my god! Anything you guys do, I'm so thankful for, and all you guys commenting and the gifting of memberships and the super chats. It's just overwhelming, and I absolutely love you guys. And you make this so much fun for us to hop on different streams, because we recognize your names. Like, we see you over here all the time, and it's just so nice to see you, because it's like genuinely, you know, those friends that you can kind of go to when really something exciting happens and chat about. Like, I can always expect you guys to come along to all of our streams. So, Ronnie, what are you doing? See, this is the part where, like, I'm wrapping things up, and then it's like Ronnie's just like, nah, the hour went by too fast. You got to stick by for another 15 minutes. There we go. So, Joy Girl, enable gifted memberships, please. And both of you guys holler at Straw Hat Lucas for the last Arc stream matchup we can facilitate. Okay. We'll make things happen. Okay, we'll make things happen, Ronnie. Love you, Ronnie. It's nice to see you around all the time. So, all right, guys. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day wherever you are in the world. For me and Joy Girl, we're about to go and hop off and go and get prepared with some popcorn for Zoro versus King, because that's going to be amazing for sure. So, all right.
Okay. All right.
Okay. See you guys. Bye bye.